Amy Rose is for my dad, Nick Wasilewski, is prepared to cede me his time if I need it, and if possible, if I even still need it, Gretchen Walker is here, and she signed up right after me to cede me her time. For the benefit of the public and the members of City Council, I would like to inform you that I have taken video of the entire proceeding of the Board of Adjustment meeting on Wednesday, March 19th at Newark High School regarding the Data Centers LLC. This video has been uploaded to YouTube, and it can be viewed at no-newarkpowerplant.org. Now, while I say that, my testimony and my statement is for myself as an individual and not on behalf of any organization. At the last City Council meeting, I presented a letter that was signed by dozens of Newark residents that asked City Council to take action to withdraw our city's public sponsorship of the Data Centers LLC from the 2013 Delaware Economic Development Office grant. This was because the city manager had admittedly never read the grant application prior to signing the city on as the public sponsor, and the project has been put on hold by the Delaware Economic Development Office pending the Data Centers LLC's financing information. As of yet, we have not received a response from the city that this request is even being considered. So I ask for an update from City Council on the status of this request.
Amy, I meant to get back with you today, but I was home for a little. I was home today. I was away from my computer. But the conversation has been started, and a response will be forthcoming very quick.
Is that conversation taking place in executive session?
No.
Then the conversation needs to occur at the table. It's my understanding of the open meeting rule of the state that City Council cannot engage in deliberations off the public record.
It's not. I don't think it was a conversation. I've been requested by Ms. Haddon, who you emailed recently, to provide a response, and you will get that response in the next couple days.
Okay. We, the residents who signed the letter, asked City Council to respond, not the city manager. So I'm a little confused about what's happening.
I asked the city for some clarification on some questions that I had about what the petition stated, and I'm waiting for that. Before I go to the other council members, my conversation I started with the city.
So,
not even, I can't say conversation, I asked the city.
Thank you. So will this be an agenda item then at a future City Council meeting?
I think it's going to be a response that will be sent to every resident who signed the petition.
And that'll be from City Council?
It will be from the city manager with the approval of the City Council.
So City Council will meet in the public and approve a letter?
No, they'll just give me direction to respond to the questions that are in it.
Right. The residents of Newark asked City Council, a public body, to respond to our concern. So I would like to reiterate that we would like City Council to respond to our concern. And City Council is this body, not the city manager. So I ask again that City Council please consider withdrawing public sponsorship from the grant application to the Delaware Economic Development Office.
Amy, you have crossed yourself a few times. You're asking us to respond to you and provide conversation, but you've taken several actions that have also bound us up in litigation, and threat of litigation, and pending litigation. So decide what it is you truly want, okay? As far as anything else between city management and Councilwoman Haddon, I have no idea of what they're talking about. So as far as I'm concerned, there's been no impropriety, okay?
The next item. Thank you, Marge. The next item. During the January 13th, 2014 City Council meeting, Council returned from executive session with the following as it is reported in the minutes of that meeting. City Council and staff continue to have concerns about the environmental impacts of the proposal. Accordingly, in the event of the zoning verification is provided to the data centers project, Ms. Zero will entertain a motion to authorize and direct the city manager to retain an independent environmental consultant to evaluate the TDC plan proposal. The air permit application and associated environmental factors that, based upon the city's determination that the use of formal bidding is not practical for this project, council waives the requirements of section 2-23. Motion by Mr. Markham, seconded by Mr. Tuttle. Motion passed unanimously, vote 6-0. You can imagine my surprise to see a sworn affidavit provided by the contractor hired as a result of this motion, Gavin B. Book of Liberty Environmental Incorporated, submitted as evidence by the city in the residence appeal of the zoning verification letter for the Data Centers LLC. This action falls outside the purpose of waiving the open bid process and hiring an independent environmental consultant. Indeed, it falls outside the purpose of hiring an independent environmental consultant in the first place. It also raises the question of whether the process of our supposed independent review of the Data Centers LLC's air permit has already become biased, and whether the decisions of the staff of the City of Newark in engaging in this deliberate action have also become so biased as to warrant the selection of a new environmental consultant and a new supervisor for this environmental consultant from among the staff that does not directly report to the city manager. My Freedom of Information Act requests in the past 9 months reveal that the city manager, the planning director, the finance director, and the electric department director all had a role in negotiating.
We're into Gretchen's seated time now.
Okay, thank you. All had a role in negotiating with the Data Centers LLC and participated in concealing that information from the City Council and the public between July 2012 and when the details about the power plant were revealed to City Council by myself and other members of the public in June 2013. To ensure the health and safety of residents of Newark, I ask that these individuals be removed from any involvement in overseeing the activities of an environmental consultant, that City Council instead establish a Board of Newark residents to oversee the environmental consultant, and that a new environmental consultant be selected that has not become a participant in a legal action on the city's behalf. Third, I will be distributing a copy of the District 5 newsletter that was distributed door-to-door recently by Councilman Chapman. On the back side of the newsletter, in an area that I've highlighted in yellow, Councilman Chapman says the following about the Data Centers LLC. Quote, "Though I cannot prevent the Data Centers LLC from moving ahead with its plans, I and members of council were able to work with the city administration to attach many conditions to the zoning verification that the city planning department issued in January." End quote. Presuming that Councilman Chapman's District 5 newsletter provides accurate and honest information to Newark residents, it raises the question, which members of City Council worked with the city administration to attach conditions to the zoning verification that the planning department issued in January? I would like to know, and we all deserve to know, who those council members were who worked behind the scenes and outside the public eye to influence the process. Will the council members who were involved please disclose their involvement? Presuming that Councilman Chapman's District 5 newsletter is accurate and honest, it raises another concern, as it seems to contradict sworn testimony submitted in a signed and notarized affidavit by the planning director, Ms. Feeny Roser, to the Board of Adjustment about the process for which the zoning verification letter was issued. I think that we all have a deep interest in ensuring that the staff of our city, on behalf of our city, provide honest and accurate sworn testimony in legal proceedings involving the city. So I request that this issue be addressed by City Council. I will also be sharing a list of items that were withheld.
I'll see my time. Which one?
John Wallace.
Thank you.
I will also be sharing a list of items that were withheld by the City of Newark from a recent Freedom of Information Act request because of 1. Trade secrets and commercial or financial information obtained from a person which is of a privileged or confidential nature. 2. Attorney-client privilege. 3. Pertaining to pending or potential litigation. And 4. Discussions held in executive session. Councilman Chapman's District-wide newsletter has waived attorney-client privilege on issues pertaining to the subject matter therein, specifically the discussions of the City of Newark regarding the zoning verification letter. I ask that these items therefore be provided immediately. We have already paid for the collection of these items, and we expect that they will be provided without additional charges. The public deliberation of the Board of Adjustments proceedings on Wednesday, March 19th at Newark High School included statements from some members of the Board of Adjustment, including the chairman, Jeffrey Bergstrom, that were worrisome. I would like to point out that Mr. Bergstrom lives in District 5 and reasonably would have read the copy of the Councilman Chapman's newsletter that was left on his doorstep. This calls into question whether the proceedings were not influenced by Mr. Chapman's newsletter, which could be interpreted to provide justification for the legislative intent in the interpretation of the STC zoning that was conducted by the planning director, Ms. Rosa. The content of this newsletter is of utmost importance to the very integrity of our city, its staff, and the legal process by which residents undergo appeals of decisions on zoning. I ask that the implications of this letter, including those that I have just described, be investigated as a matter of urgency by City Council. Thank you.